Let's ha 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 ha. Let's let's freaking go. After a week of sickness, we are back. PHL Nation on the Super Bowl Eve. Are you kidding me? We have got a lot to get to. Okay? A lot. Right? Not only do we have the Super Bowl, you had this legendary LSU versus South Carolina basketball game that is happening tomorrow. Pretty freaking excited about that. But there was a huge story that broke on Thursday night. Okay, so first things first, thanks to everyone being super patient. I did get married last week. We did do a live stream on Sunday, and then I proceeded to get very sick, and you could still hear some congestion, right? Um, so I apologize for not being live. I wasn't. I don't miss live streams. That was the first Tuesday and first Thursday night live stream I have missed in years since we even started doing it. So that lets you know how sick I was. I don't know why I got that sick, but I am back. Here's one of my really good buddies right here. We say hi to Dylan. We say hi to the PHL New York City president. We say hi to Jared. We say hi to Tony, T. Mill. Blaine says people need to mind their business. That's personal stuff. We have people watching on Facebook. We say hi to Michael, Skipper, and so many others. Okay. So we're going to talk about the big story from this week, right? Now, first things first. One story that I will not comment on until way later because I know it's going to seep into this. I haven't really talked about it on Twitter. I know it's going to be asked my thoughts on the Dale Brown Sue Gunter thing. I'm not going to touch on that until later, right? I feel like there's so many more interesting things. This is a football channel, so we're going to get to a lot. But I do want to start off with the Brian Kelly story. Now, let me give you a little timeline and someone who has a journalism degree myself. I graduated with a 2.7. I don't call myself a journalist, so we'll get into the newsworthiness of divorce and reconciliation, okay? So I'll share a few thoughts on that here in just a second. But I will share this, as my Patreon Discord knows, a big reason why you should join is when I do get and I start hearing some things, I do occasionally share it. And in the Discord, I shared my thoughts as to why I don't think that was truly newsworthy. But I do think there is a case to be made. Now, I shared in there. So my patrons and Discordians, right? I know you guys have already heard me say this, but I want to say this publicly here. I don't do much personal stuff. I just don't. Even during the Orgeron stuff, I stayed away from it, right? Sometimes you have to talk about those things because it does have an effect on the program, right? And that's the big question here. Is Brian Kelly's personal life something that is of our concern? And the answer to me is unequivocally no. I just don't think the day-to-day things he does in his personal life is of anyone's importance or knowledge. But hear me out here, and I understand that there's going to be some people that will fire back at me for what I'm about to say. But it is important, though, that the head coach who is responsible for everybody, okay? Now, this is going to come off wrong, but in the grand scheme of things in college football, 90% of your success is going to be your head coach. 90%. There are over 200 people that are affected by the head coach's decision. Assistants, analysts, staffers, other sports. The head coach has got to be mentally and fully immersed into this job every single day. That is why you are the head coach of the team, right? We go to Max's Super Chat here. They have been trying to drag BK through the mud since he has landed at LSU. Kind of sad how the media will still grasp at straws just to throw shade at this man. Haters are going to hate, I guess. Yes, and some of this is people wanting to see Brian Kelly fail. There are some people out there that want him to fail. There are some people out there that still did not like this hire. They still don't like who he is. I know that there's a lot of people in the Notre Dame media that really wants Brian Kelly's personal life to be, you know what. So look, I don't think it is our business to know whether or not he is staying with his wife. However, what I will say, it is important though that whatever the situation may be, it cannot affect the team the way that it affected Ed Orgeron, right? And that in and of itself affected the team, right? I don't think this is what happened here, right? I don't. So I don't think anyone should panic. I've gotten a lot of panic calls from people because we did go through, a situation with our last coach, and of course, obviously on a far more nefarious scale with Les Miles. I just don't think it's of unbelievable importance. Now, what about WBRZ, right? A lot of you have asked, hey, Carter, what about WBRZ? Should they have reported the story? Well, the first thing here is it's important to get something right about the WBRZ story is they did not report anything factually incorrect, right? So people saying that it's fake news per se, it wasn't fake. Everything that happened, that they said happened, happened. Now, the way that the story was initially written did actually change, but the facts of the story remain the facts of the story. When they initially released the story, they did not attach the court documents. Then they did attach the court documents to prove that it was indeed something that happened. The question is, should they report on that? It's murky, right? It's murky. I don't think if this was an assistant coach, the story should have been reported on. A head coach, though, it is a little bit different. It is a little bit more in question. I still lean towards no. And if you are going to do it, the one very key thing that I think that has been left out of the story is, did they reach out to Brian Kelly for comment, right? If I were WBRZ, I would have reached out and said, hey, LSU or Brian Kelly, do you have anything to say about this? I would not have run with the story just because it was in the court documents. I would have reached out and said, hey, do you care to comment if you actually are going to run the story? Ultimately, though, you guys know on this channel, we are strictly football, right? We're not, we aren't tuning in to Power Hour LSU for Maury or Real Housewives or anything like that. That's not what this is. So I tend to stay away from personal things. And, this will probably be the only time I even talk about this, but it is important to note that the head coach of the university is, the head coach of the university needs to have all his ducks in a row. That's all I got to say, right? And the thing is when the head coach is affected, everybody's affected. There are a lot of people at LSU who do very important jobs, okay? From assistant trainers to analysts to receiver coaches to whoever, right? But the only three coaches at the school that move the needle or the pendulum, if you will, is your head coach and your coordinators, right? Your assistant coaches, your offensive line coaches, analysts, and all those guys are very important. But the head coach is what moves the needle, right? And, hopefully everything is patched up and ready to go. And Brian Kelly is ready to take, the next step forward as the coach. He's done a lot of good on and off the field at LSU. And we'll see where we go from there. We say hi to Jared. Thank you so much for the super chat. Branson, starting to become one of my really good buddies. someone that I really trust. Speaking of non-football, LSU men have 17 points at the half at home versus Texas A&M. They're embarrassing. So I wasn't going to mention the LSU men's basketball game. They are playing right now, just in case you guys didn't know. But the truth here is this is the worst LSU men's basketball team I've ever seen. In fact, I call community college basketball games, and both teams that I've called games for today fielded better offenses than the LSU men's basketball team that, quite frankly, doesn't look like they know how to run offense. I watched a Mississippi State game earlier this week, waste of my time. I could have been actually watching, like Harold Perkins or somebody else. But the truth here is LSU men's basketball is atrocious, and we move on. I think because the marriage issues have played a role in the coaching of this team in the past, it does make it more newsworthy. Is it ethical? Yeah, and that's it, Danny. Like, I don't think this is a scenario where what WBRZ did is just like atrociously bad journalism. I don't think what they did was something that was horrible, right? They didn't actually say anything about it. They just reported what transpired, right? And it is like newsworthy. Yes, anytime a head coach of any major football university is involved in anything good or bad, it is going to generate clicks, right? College football coaches are amongst the biggest celebrities in all of sports, especially one as national and well recognized as Brian Kelly. The truth is, though, doesn't make it ethical. I've always felt, for me, most journalism professors are going to say yes, right? Because one thing journalism professors always go back on is if you are an A-list celebrity or if you are someone of importance, everything you do is newsworthy, uh, which I would fight back on. But is it ethical? It's tough. It's really, really, really tough. I tend to not really care about the personal lives of coaches or just in general. Like, insert any celebrity who has has a celebrity wife. Like, I care Russell Wilson's married to Sierra. It's just not really interesting to me. I know it's interesting to Haley, but it's not interesting, to me. I don't know how a lot of people feel about that. Um, I'm a little weird in that sense. Like, I follow sports strictly for the sports. I find sports to be the most interesting thing about sports. A lot of people don't. A lot of people don't. They like the celebrity. They like the scandals. They like all of that. Uh, so it's very, very interesting. Danny, it's good to see you. You've had a lot of good thoughts on the subject. I think I saw you tweet about this, or I might be getting you confused with somebody else. It's good to see you, Danny. If I wanted to watch Housewives, I'd watch Housewives. My wife, still kind of cool to say that. My wife and my mother, they love that. They do. So that's not here nor there for me. Um, One thing Haley started watching again is The Hills. Who remembers The Hills, right? That's Heidi Montag, Spencer, Brody, Adriana, all those people. I looked them all up on Instagram. They all have millions of followers still, and they still make six-figure salaries. It's crazy. Every LSU fan will forget about this until week 1 of the season if we lose. Yeah, that's what's very interesting about this, Max, is like, the one thing I don't like about this story is I think a lot of people are so enraged about Brian Kelly's personal life because the two actually got back together, right? Um, I wonder how different people's reactions would be if they didn't reconcile, right? So, um, but I will say this as a PHLer who always preaches fatherhood and, you know, uh, marriage is staying together and being there for your kids. I am very happy for um, Grace, Patrick, and the entire family that the family is staying together, which is obviously, a very good thing. So, look, I am happy that they are back together simply because the nuclear family is a very important thing in our society. And shout out to all the super moms and super dads of PHL. Uh, there you go. Now, I'll touch on this because Danny did just super chat on the South Carolina and LSU game tomorrow. Okay. So, spoke to a few women's college basketball players earlier today about this game. Um, and they obviously know more about the sport than I do. I called a women's game earlier and a men's game, and they actually gave me some good breakdowns. And one of the players who really knows the game honestly believes LSU is going to win tomorrow. And I was like, wait, doesn't South Carolina have Aaliyah Boston? And Aaliyah Boston, the best player in the sport? And she probably is. She probably still is. She's reigning player of the year, reigning SB's female athlete of the year. Aaliyah Boston is really good. All right. Her numbers don't look like ridiculous, but South Carolina's just blowing everybody out. But she told me that she thinks LSU is going to be able to move the basketball around. And 45 Morris has got some, big time dribbling ability. And we're going to be able to take it to South Carolina. I hope so. Obviously, whatever happens tomorrow happens. It's just cool for me that women's basketball is back in the forefront. I think it's great. Um, I met Simone Augustus when she was in high school, and obviously I was very young at the time. So, you know, I've always enjoyed LSU women's basketball, and I'm just glad that Mulkey's got us where we need to be, which is, mano a mano. The one thing I hope happens is I hope Kim Mulkey and Don Staley continue to hate each other. Sports are always better when your A-listers hate each other. And they are the two best coaches in the sport right now. Gino's lost it. So, I hope they continue to hate each other. They're obviously big personalities, and I'm really excited to see them go head to head. I can't wait to see their handshake or if they even shake each other's hands. It's going to be great. Really excited to watch that one. And you know, I haven't watched South Carolina once this year. I've watched a women's team a few times. I know Sherry Berry. I don't think she's in here right now. She watches every second of every women's game, so she could probably give a better breakdown than me. But for me, I'm going to LSU. I'm going to LSU. I'm kind of happy though tomorrow. Like I don't really know too much about it. Like you guys know how much I am at breaking down every player in every game. I kind of like just going into a game blind and just being a wild fan tomorrow. But it is kind of cool to see a nice little warm up to the Super Bowl. And we're going to talk about the Super Bowl a little bit later because I do have a few props, and I'm glad Danny brought this up because what you can do now to help me is go to underdogfantasy.com. Okay, once again, that's underdogfantasy.com, promo code Carter. Okay, I'm close to hitting a huge bonus with our friends at underdogfantasy.com. They have long time helped and grown PHL. So shout out to Underdog Fantasy. I've got a few Underdog Fantasy plays for you to make tonight for the big game. So once again, it's underdogfantasy.com. Okay. Let's go to Branson here. At least for me, my philosophy is don't speak on something if you don't know. And if you don't know, say that we need more info. But Carter, is it a fact that they found file? That they found file? They found file. As in they found the file for the divorce. Yeah, I mean they found it. They attached the document. So yeah, I mean, we don't know everything, right? And with stories like this, whether it's when there's any kind of separation like this, right, and the law is involved, and the law isn't really involved here, but you get what I'm saying. There's always going to be more that you don't know than you do, right? But it's a weird thing. It's a weird thing. As long as Brian Kelly is not affected by it, LSU should be fine. But it's tough. It's really, really hard. Uh, just knowing a lot of football coaches and speaking to them, it is hard to be in this business and keep everybody happy. It just is. It's a hard balance. It wears on anybody. So here, let's go to vet here. The media will keep bringing it up as a question of how dialed in BK is. Yeah, I think the biggest thing though, TOV, about this is, Brian Kelly had a really good season coaching itself, right? Like, I felt like there was only 2 games where he coached bad. Florida State, and that's excusable because, they didn't have Perk and Emory Jones ready. They weren't ready to play those guys yet. The Tennessee game was a poorly coached game from him. Everything else, though, was fine to me. I don't think there was a game where you can point to and be like, we were not prepared to play. Now, we played bad versus Texas A&M, but, that I don't know how much that game was on BK, right? Um, so, yeah, I think for me, LSU just had a great recruiting class, top 5 recruiting class, and we just won the West. A lot of these games were close, and it took some good coaching and bold decision making. So, at least for now, Brian Kelly is focused, right? So, I think for me, and I do agree, Branson, A&M in particular, but honestly, think a lot of that was more on House than anything. Uh, so yeah, I mean, it is going to keep getting brought up. And also, the downside of this story is LSU's reputation, right? LSU's reputation in the minds of many throughout the sport is it is debaucherous, if you will. It's uh, there's always something happening. There's uh, all these crazy stories, and there are plenty of them. But it comes along with it, right? It's just you can't change how people view you. Okay. Once again, 43 people on a Saturday night. Good to see each and every one of you. We are live on Facebook as well. Good to see some Facebookians. I didn't even have the Facebook one pulled up. I guess I should pull that up. There we go. Seems as though the LSU head football coaching position is toxic for marriages. I mean, once again, it goes back to something Branson mentioned a minute ago. Who's to say that this wasn't brewing already when he was in South Bend, right? This could have been something that had been, you know, piling up or leading into. They might have had differences prior to that, but they're back together, and it's a good thing, right? You want marriages to stay together or stay together as long as they possibly can. Miss Kelly probably kept throwing cardboard boxes out on the garage floor. That got me close to filing a few times. Everyone goes through personal issues as long as it doesn't affect your work. It's none of your business, but people will say anything to bash BK. What's up, Pierce? Good to see you. Garrett, thank you again for your super chat. Completely different situation. Hey, Mom, good to see you. Specialty K. That's true. Let's go up here to T Mill. Kelly's business is his business. There you go. But yeah, I mean, it's a small sample, right? Just because the last 3 head coaches have had marital issues or whatever you want to call what It's happened to the last three coaches. I don't think it's a thing where a marriage can't work out. Trust me, it is tough for high school coaches. Uh, uh, the marriage thing. The difference, so for college coaches, is recruiting, right? It's going on the road. It's flying from, you know, one area of the country to another. It's a weird thing. It's a very very weird thing. Okay, let's see here. Womano, why Womano? Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes. Success is toxic for marriages sometimes. Being LSU head coach means you're successful. There you go, Branson. Young guns coming in. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's it's tough, man. It's tough. I think one more thing, and I'll get into a few other LSU things here. Um, I just don't think Brian Kelly, who still needs to win a national championship for his legacy, obviously took a major step forward towards that goal as a coach last year. I don't think he's going to let just this one thing hold him back, right? I don't think he is going to let this opportunity at LSU with all the talent that he has. I don't think it's going to swallow him whole per se. Um, Look, his kids are on staff. Um, I just think, you know, Packy and the whole family. I think they are going to be in a spot where LSU is going to continue to roll. So we'll see. Let's go to LA Mom. Marriage is hard, period. Ask her, trust me. Huh? 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 We're a week into this thing. She's been dealing with my sick butt all day. Hey, good to see you, wifey. What's your take on Texas and Oklahoma coming aboard? Okay, we'll get to that, DJ Pizza. Uh yeah, so they're jumping in 2024 instead of 2025, right? So just for clarification before we move forward, the schedule next year will stay the same. It will stay the same. The next year, though, it's going to change. So LSU is going to be just fine this next year with their schedule. So it's going to stay the same. Then in 2024, we will have a new schedule format. Okay. So the biggest thing for Texas and Oklahoma joining the SEC is the schedule. The football schedule is going to change. I don't think it affects all the other sports as much as it does football for many obvious reasons, right? So, DJ Pizza, I think the biggest question that's on the mind of many is one of two. Is the SEC going to move to a 9-game conference schedule? I believe that it excuse me. I believe that it is. Okay. The second thing is, will LSU find the 3 permanent teams that it wants? Okay. So, what does that mean? Well, if you have a 9-game conference schedule, the way that it's rumored to work is you're going to have 3 permanent teams that you play every single year in the SEC, and then you're going to have 6 other teams that rotate for those other slots. Okay. So, the 3 permanent teams that I believe LSU will have will be Alabama. I think the SEC is going to want to keep LSU and Alabama an annual thing. Okay. I also think Florida. I think LSU Florida will remain an annual thing. And I think LSU Ole Miss will remain an annual thing. So I think LSU's three permanent teams are going to be Alabama, Florida, and Ole Miss. That is purely a guess, though. The weird thing about LSU, you could say this about them, but no one else in the SEC, is there is not a team that is 100% locked into being in LSU's three, right? We know for sure Alabama and Auburn are going to play each other every year. We know for sure Florida and Georgia will stay on the schedule every single year. We know Ole Miss and Mississippi State and so on and so on. So right now, I would guess it'd be those three schools. I could see it being LSU, Alabama, Texas A&M, and Ole Miss. Uh, I hate this because this is my favorite annual game, but I don't think LSU Arkansas is going to survive it, but I could see it happening. Um, I think Arkansas, Texas, I think those two will be in each other's annual matchups. A lot of history there between those two schools that predates me. Um, I think obviously Texas and Oklahoma will stay on each other's schedule, and the question is going to be: will Texas and Texas A&M play every year? There's so many different questions. What I will say to what I will say is I did an exercise a year and a half ago with a guy by the name of Dave Bartu, College Football Matrix, and LSU. So what he did was he got a representative of each SEC team, and they said, "Hey, look, each one of you gets to pick who your top three schools are to play every single year." Okay. And even though LSU does not have a direct rival, LSU was the school selected the most, right? So, what I think that means is there are a lot of schools that likes playing LSU every year annually, right? Auburn loves playing LSU every year. Florida. I mean, how many times have we talked about who is the most hated team on the schedule? Florida gets brought up. I kind of like the LSU Florida game being played every year. It seems like a very natural hatred of two fan bases of each other. Um, so yeah, it's very interesting. Play Vandy twice. Tyler, what's up, man? H Town Creole, what's up, bud? Good to have you back, Van. Good to see you. Lots of smart people in the chat tonight. I'm loving this. Oh man, I can't freaking believe it. We are back. I was sick all week, and I said, look, I cannot not have the live streams. This is my favorite thing. This is what I do. This is what I do. If I could do this I might just start live streaming every night. I might just start doing it. Haley wouldn't care. She'd be like, at least he's out of my hair. Type Y for yes, type in for no. You miss me this week. Type Y for yes if you miss me this week. I'm serious. If it was like, yeah, my nights were fine without you, just type no. But if you really miss me, type Y for yes right now. If you really miss me, only if you really miss me, I only want diehards in this thing. Get out of here if you aren't a diehard. Okay? LeBron. So excited to be back. I'm a married man now. I actually hurt my chest. My chest is a little hard. Pause. God, that kind of hurt my chest. I'm a wimp. Let's go. I don't care that we're a million miles away from the season. I don't care. I get to do this because of you guys. Haley was tired of putting up with me. He did get some extra sleep. Poche, what's up, man? Jewel, good to see you. Branson Cat, my guy from the North End Zone. I'm gonna get Branson Cat on here one night. A rough week, Tyler. Hang tough, man. I'm right there with you, man. It's been a rough week. Did you see it? Like Tyler messaged me a few weeks ago. I wasn't live. It was like a Wednesday night, and he was like, "Carter, I'm mad at you. These 12s you've been working. It's tough, man." Three of the top schools. Yeah, you know. Yeah, DJ Pizza, to answer your question. Well, come on. I'm not baseball. I know Tyler's big baseball. I know a couple of you are big baseball. I can direct you to a lot of people that cover baseball. Obviously, Blake's my favorite. He's my friend, but Matthew Musso does a really good job with the baseball. I'm friends with Matthew as well. There's a lot of people that do the baseball. Good luck to them though this year. I'm gonna talk about them some, but I'm gonna need you guys to keep me filled in on the baseball. All right. But anyway, I do want to get into the Super Bowl before I get tired or I start hawking stuff up again. Because obviously we have the big game tomorrow. Once again, go to underdogfantasy.com. Promo code Carter. There is a lot of fun, big game props that you could take advantage of. Underdog Fantasy. Go to underdogfantasy.com, type in the promo code Carter, and you're helping me out big time. Okay? Huge. I'm telling you. About to hit a big bonus. I still got some bills from that wedding. So, underdogfantasy.com. I like the Chiefs. I do. I think, for me, are the Eagles a more complete team? Yes. Are they the better team? Yes. I do like that I get a healthy Patrick Mahomes, 2 weeks resting up that ankle. I'm a little worried about Jalen Hurts' vertical passing ability. And I've shared on here that, yes, this is an LSU channel, but I like Jalen Hurts. I do. I think if you're one of these, you don't like people that are arrogant or whatever. Jalen Hurts is as humble as it gets, right? And I just like him a lot. I know he's a Bama guy, but look, he's a solid dude. I'm a little worried about that shoulder though, right? And I just feel as if I'm in a spot where the rosters I feel are somewhat equal. I think the Eagles are more complete. I do. Okay. I am leaning towards taking the all-time player and the points. Okay. So I am leaning Chiefs. Okay. Chiefs. Poll question right there is done. Type C for Chiefs, type E for Eagles. Here. Eagles. Predict LSU baseball had 3 separate 10-game win streaks. That's crazy. So Cindy on Facebook. Good to see you. C-Dub. Dang. all my buddies in my group chat have the Eagles. All of them. They've already bet Eagles money line and everything. I think Tyler's a Mahomes guy. He's going Chiefs. Technically, as LSU fans, we should be cheering for the Chiefs, right? Because Clyde Edwards-Helaire is on the Chiefs, right? And him being active makes it the 22nd straight Super Bowl LSU has had someone in the Super Bowl. So, not only that, the Eagles are littered with SEC players that didn't go to LSU, right? They've got a ton of Mississippi State guys. They got a ton of Georgia guys. They got a ton of Bama guys. They even got an Ole Miss guy. No LSU guys. And the Eagles were also the team that passed on Justin Jefferson. So we should hate the Eagles, right? I think their helmets are still so cool. I really do believe that. Okay. I do like the Chiefs, so I do like that I'm getting Mahomes. I think their offensive line is better than what they were a few years ago. I think a lot of people still have, scars from the Chiefs offensive line falling apart versus the Buccaneers. But the Chiefs now have Creed Humphrey. They got Orlando Brown. I mean, they got some offensive line pieces, right? Obviously, their skill guys aren't that great outside of, Kelsey, but still, I mean, I think the Chiefs are going to do a lot of this 12 and 13 personnel stuff, and I think Mahomes is going to have a big game tomorrow. I do. So yeah, I'm going with the Chiefs. I think I am going to put some money down on the Chiefs. This kind of feels like the Celtics Warriors last year, right? Where the Celtics have all these great young players, they're well put together, they're well coached, but the other team has the all-time great dude. And that's where the difference was. Like Steph took over the finals. I think we'll see the same thing with Mahomes tomorrow. I do. Look, I got to eat crow, man. Mahomes, I mean, what he did a few weeks ago to the Bengals, man, I mean, it's tough to beat Joe in the playoffs, right? And Patty got it done on a bum ankle, no receivers. Dude's a beast, man. Dude is a beast. Okay. Ooh, we're not going to talk about that one. And I'll say this: I knew I was going to get some Liverpool questions eventually. I can't watch every game. Like I just can't. It's impossible. Liverpool's kind of my getaway, but now that I have more time to sit and watch, like obviously on Monday I'm going to watch the full game, Everton, the Derby. Pretty excited about that. We'll see. Eagles had the better defense and will win because of that. They do have the better defense. They do. Boston Scott, Louisiana Tech. Let's go. Yeah, he was a Saint at some point. He was drafted by the Saints. Chiefs start slow and put it on in the second half. Tony doesn't care for the Chiefs. Yeah, I agree. Let's see here. Mountain Dew, good to see you. We're right down the middle on the poll question here. Oh, I didn't know Boston Scott went to Zachary. I honestly didn't know that. That's cool. Huh? He could play. What, he's RB3 for them? Y'all have got to push me. Okay. This year, like I'm gonna let you in a little bit on my psyche. Every day, right? And Haley always has to remind me, hey Carter, the channel's doing fine. It is doing fine, right? But every night I go to sleep, I feel like everything's gonna disappear. I feel like someone's gonna go in, delete my stuff. Dude, I think about it all the time. I really do. Right. And sometimes I just don't appreciate this enough. Like I just don't. Like I do appreciate it, but I don't allow myself to get comfortable. Right. So let me run something by you guys really quickly. How many of you, all right, and I promise we'll get back into Chiefs and stuff like that. All right. How many of you like deep dives, right? You like the 20-minute breakdowns where, we did the 20-minute breakdown on the Missouri game earlier this week. I got a bunch of good feedback on that. It's not the most viewed stuff. I know when I do those things, it's not like the most viewed things, but would you guys like more shorts, like quick 1-minute videos? Would you guys like me to go live on Wednesdays or Mondays? Would you guys like to see Blake more or more guests? Feel free to hit me up on any platform or in the chat right now or in the Discord. We got another Discordian earlier this week, Donovan. Uh, you guys let me know what you guys want. It is the off season. Now, during the season, we stay strictly on a schedule and it's easy to produce content during the season. Okay. So let me know what you guys want to see more of this off season. I've gotten a lot of requests to do more film breakdowns of incoming players. So I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to try and do a film breakdown of every incoming player. The only thing I ask is whatever I put out that you request, watch it, share it. Let me know what you guys think. Because this this channel is for you, right? I understand this is what feeds Z and Haley and puts the lights on and makes the studio work and all this stuff. But now that the wedding is in the back burner, okay, as you guys saw, it took a lot out of me. I didn't know I was going to get sick. I'm very happy I'm married now, so I can just get into this the way I know I can get into it, right? And I'm just going to let you know if you're not rocking with me, there's plenty of other great places to get LSU content. But if you are a diehard LSU football fan, this channel, I promise you, we've got a lot of crazy things coming out. I got a few recruiting deep dive, film study kind of things coming out as well. A big one coming up on Kamarion Pimpton, who has shot up my board. He is firmly in my top 5 players, offense or defense, this cycle. I really like him a lot. Uh, I'm going to be experimenting with a lot of stuff. Some of it won't get any views because I want to be able to see what works. Now is the time to experiment. Now is the time to look into different, forms of content, and that's what I'm doing right now. Throw in more shorts. Okay, we'll do more shorts. Your posse would clean someone if they attacked you or your hard work, Carter. I don't have a posse. I wish I did. But no, my posse is you guys. All right. You guys are the ones. Okay. Now, here's what we're gonna do. All right. I told Haley I would do this because I want to make sure that I'm fully healthy and ready to go. All right. I'm not gonna go for too long tonight. I'm not. But here's what we will do. Okay. We are going to keep this thing moving. If you super chat, though, we'll keep this thing going all night long. But in the next 10 minutes, I'll answer as many questions as I possibly can. Okay. In the next 10, anything under the sun, it could be Super Bowl related, it could be Kim Mulkey related, it could be Brian Kelly related. Didn't talk a whole lot of football tonight. That's fine. Sometimes nights are like that, right? We also didn't talk a whole lot of Jaden Daniels and Garrett Nussmeyer, which is a breath of fresh air, quite honestly. So, so there you go. So anything you guys want to talk about, we'll get to it really quickly. Thanks again to our top super chatters. It's the usual suspects: Danny, Max, Jared. You guys know who you are. Appreciate all the super chats. It goes a long way. Okay. I knew nothing about this. Thank you so much, SMC, for letting me know. Congratulations to the Lady Tigers shutting out OSU. That's good stuff. Like all the film studies you do, good analysis and show all the details that matter. I really appreciate that. I'm also growing in my film knowledge. The one thing that, and I get asked this a lot about, growing as a like film study. How do you learn more about football? I'm telling you right now, as I've gotten deeper into it, this is crazy. When I started doing film studies when I was at LSU, I was like, I had really good coaches and I knew this and that. But as you study more film, the thing that kind of becomes scary is to um you begin to see how much you don't know, right? And I shared the Peyton Manning story. I'll keep that private with the Discord. I shared a crazy Peyton Manning story about me and him in our conversation a few weeks ago. You can go to the Discord right now. You can read it, patreon.com/LSU football. But the truth is, I just like, I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I learn more about football and I'm like, God, I don't know anything. Like I really don't. Like it's crazy how much you can learn. There's the I just started learning more about Saban's Rip Liz man match principles and all that stuff. And I kind of don't want to learn all that stuff because it is so complicated, right? And I see a lot of film analysts trying to break down every last little man match principle, and it's complicated, right? I can't even figure it out. So is there a count on scholarship players we have? Yeah, I mean, you could go manually count them right now. Tony, I think that number is in the high 70s, so I do. What I'll do is when I get off of here, I'll go count them all and see if I can get you a number. I got to somehow look busy at drill while watching the Lady Tigers beat South Carolina. I love that. I love it. Let's see here. Here's me and Skip. Pressy Collection, PressyCollection.com. I didn't do the trivia thing. You could tell I'm still getting some rust off. Pressy Collection, PressyCollection.com. Really appreciate them. And I'm actually not wearing my ring. I forgot to put it on. But anything engagement rings, necklace, diamond, jewelry, Pressy Collection, and the PressyCollection.com. I'm too simple for deep dives. No, you're not, Jared. You are complicated. I'm kidding. Huh? Eagles have that LSU bias like the Saints. Let's see. Well, Ron Brooks used to play for the Eagles. I know, Jared. I got people instead of the other way around. Huh? I love it. Well, all right, y'all. I'm 63 and know little about football. I know my opinions, but everyone has those. I just love to watch the game. Yeah, Van. Look, the football is complex. It is amazing how complex the sport actually is. I think we would freak if we actually had to go through a game plan with like Andy Reid or somebody like that. It's so complex, the verbiage and all of it. It's hard. It's really, really, really hard. Like you could learn all the route concept names, Dagger, Sail, Hank. You could learn all these terms. spacing and still not understand the verbiage of different offenses. It's difficult. It's very, very difficult. Uh, let's go to Pierce. We're off the scholarship restriction thing, right? We signed 1 million kids in the class. How could we still be under even after people declared for the draft? Yeah, I think the scholarship restriction stuff is done. We signed 1 million kids in the class. How could we still be under even after people declared for the draft? Because our numbers were so low at the end of last year, right? Um, I do think the number is like in the high 70s, though. I do. Uh, Jalen Mills was an Eagle for a while. Yeah, and I think he won a Super Bowl with them, if I'm not mistaken. Scripting and variables would fry my mind. SMC says, "Congrats on your wedding, Carter. I've been out for a while myself and don't think I'll ever be able to shake all the rest I've got off." It's all good, SMC. It's all good. I've been off. I have been off. Right. Uh, so yeah, man, it's hard. It's hard to shake off the rest. Now, here's what we're gonna do. Okay. I know we normally do like these super long live streams. I'm still not fully healthy. You can tell I'm congested here. So I am going to sign off right now. Okay. I want to keep going. I want to make sure, though, that I get fully healthy. So here's what we're going to do. Okay. I will continue discussing and chatting in the PHL Discord. So I will see you guys over there. By the way, congrats on being a married guy. Yes. I'm very happy to be very, very married. There you go. I do highly recommend, though, right? Once again, I've just been way off. Felt like I was just off tonight. Makes sense. I don't think I've been sicker than this before. I don't think I've been this sick, though, since I've started the channel. Let's see. I honestly thought about calling Branson and him jumping on with us tonight. We'll get him on, though, at some point. PowerHourLSU.com. Get your merch right now. I think Branson has the gray hoodie. So, once again, you get $50 or more of merch. I send you an autographed photo of Trey Holly, Lance Hurd, or Will Campbell. Whichever one your heart desires, okay? Already got a few of you hitting me up in the Discord, so I can't wait to chat in there. So there you go. Once again, Underdog Fantasy, UnderdogFantasy.com. Obviously helps grow the channel. And yeah, we'll talk soon. It is Power Hour LSU. Bam! We'll be back live Tuesday night. Great live. I feel great. I feel great. But not really. Tonight, we are doing what are we doing tonight? Oh yeah, some chicken tenders. Let's go. Chicken tendies. Let's go.